Hello, my name is Arthur, and in the last video we left off having gotten a start with getting some roads mapped onto the tiles we made in the first video. I've gone through and I've made most of the tiles. I've left a couple more to demonstrate. This is my tile set so far. We'll just demonstrate the last couple of tiles and maybe look at some other ideas for design on the tiles for things that are less basic. So for the last tile, I need to make one last dead end tile and one last intersection tile. So we'll start with the intersection tile, and let's figure out which one I have missing. I'm missing across the tile and up. So we'll do that one. First we'll select the transparency and invert that selection. So let's make sure we got the right tile in mind here. Yeah. So I believe we're drawing this tile here. We can just stroke a path right through that line. So we'll stroke the path. And then we'll stroke a second path. This intersection tile is pretty easy. Just for the sake of demonstration, really, in case people are still having some troubles figuring it out. Now from there, in the last video I made a suggestion that we could put some of our shading into layers. Now what I didn't stop and think is, because I'm always working on this panel, I'm undoing. So I end up undoing the layers that I would have used for doing the shading. So what I did was I copied shaded versions, one with roads on both sides and one with no roads, and that gives me most of the components that I need to not have to select the shading aspects. So on this side we don't need a road, and on this side we do need a road. So to select that, we can just use box select, select the region that we need, copy it, paste it into the image, and move it into place. We'll double check to make sure everything's in the right place, anchor the layer, and that looks good. Then on this one, well, that side is already selected because of a previous panel I worked on, so I'll just copy that, paste it in, and drop it into place. We want to watch that we're getting it into the right place so we don't change our tile size. It does seem to have a little bit of oddness about it in this case. Not sure if I'm just getting it in the wrong place or... Well, it does have a little bit of oddness here. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but I'm going to call that ignorable and simply ignore that. Personally, I don't think that's going to represent too much of an issue. So from here, I'm just going to copy it, select all, copy, Control Shift V, paste it as a new image, add the noise to the new image, OK, export, and I'm up to tile 13. So this will be the 14th tile, which is actually the 15th tile because the last one didn't have a name. So we'll export that into Godot. And now the last tile is a dead end tile. So we're going to undo everything we did there to end up at an empty tile and figure out which dead end I have left. Okay, I have the road coming down this way with the dead end on this side. So what we're going to do to make that dead end tile is we're going to use free select to copy an area like so. That gives us an even line. It looks even to me. Yeah, that's an even line. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy that, we're going to paste that, and we're going to send that to a new layer. We'll go back to the background layer because that's where we're working. We'll get our path tool. We'll draw the path. We'll stroke the path. And I'm going to undo that because I forgot to color select the tile. So I'll select the transparency, Control I to invert the selection, and redo that stroke. We'll stroke the path. We end up with a dead end because the path is actually hidden underneath this layer. So from there, we can now go grab up our shading, Control Alt, Control Copy, Control Paste, paste that into place. Oh, we forgot one little detail there, so we'll undo that paste. We need to anchor this, merge this layer down. So we could also change the order of layers, but either way, it's about the same amount of effort. So we'll line that up in place, anchor that layer, select all, copy it, paste it as a new image, add the noise, okay, and export that final tile. When we get to the final tile, our number should be 15, which would be the 16 tiles in a standard path set or road set, whichever you prefer to call it. So we'll export that. That leaves us the last two tiles to set up in Godot. So we'll go set those up. That should be 14 and 15. 14 and 16. Oops. Well, I accidentally named that 16. It should have been 15. Oh well. Not a big deal. So we'll outline that one. We'll bring in number 16, which is the 16th tile anyway, so I guess that's where I got confused on that. So that gives us the full set of tiles now. Not sure what order they end up in. Looks like their name sort of dictates their order. So if I wanted them sitting in a particular order in here, what I would want to do is to name them more specifically. Instead of ground 1, I would use something like 001. And I believe that by doing that, when I got to 10, 10 would end up down at the bottom. rather than ending up getting mixed in with the top. But I didn't make the tiles in any specific order, I just did it off the cuff. So the next thing we could talk about is a little bit on how to make the tiles differently. And I'm not sure if we can back this tile right back up to the two-dimensional tile or not. That may be more undos than I have available. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I seem to have run out. Yeah, unfortunately I can't do that. Let's see if we can do it by selecting. Now another thing we can do is we can use patterns instead of solid colors. So we could use something like a wood pattern. And I'm not sure if that puts that pattern in the queue. But we can use patterns on our tiles as well. And some of the grained wood patterns we could come up with some interesting effects with too. Oops, that was the foreground color. How we would come up with interesting effects doing that is creating a new file. Filling it with a pattern. And we'd want a bigger file. This is not a big enough file. We would fill it with the pattern. And then we would do something like use a transform tool like rotate. Rotate the pattern. And then, because we would be on a bigger canvas, copy and paste it into this area with the new rotated angle. And we come up with some nice effects doing stuff like that. When I get into doing assets to put on top of this floor, such as walls and, well, walls in particular, I was thinking of looking at maybe trying some more photorealistic stuff where we would use that type of idea, but with a photograph instead of a panel. So I'm going to look through my pictures and see if I have something well suited to that, or I'm going to go take a picture of something like a sandstone wall, a sandstone brick wall, and we'll look at making something photorealistic in the next video. Until then, take care.